Hello everyone, the Starry project login event is live now from January 19 to February 4 in GFL2 Global. Do not forget to log in daily during this event as it allows you to select and receive one free Ssr weapon on day 5 and one free Ssr character on day 8 from a specific pool. And the available character choices are Vector, Springfield, Yuhi, Misty, Andoris and Macchiato. These are all core units from their corresponding elemental teams, so everyone here is valuable. And the available weapon choices are their corresponding signature weapons. I don't know why they didn't give this one out during the actual 1-year anniversary update, but whatever, it's very much welcome as a new year gift, and this is, I think, actually the very first time Girls Frontline 2 is giving out a free Ssr Selector on both global and CN server at the same time, correct me if I'm wrong. This login event also rewards other valuable items like the extreme calibration chips and the fixed key evolution mats, etc., which are also very scarce as resources, but that is not what we are here for. We are here to discuss and figure out which character and the weapon are the best pickup choices for you and your account. It's kinda hard to decide on who to go for since, trust me, all are good choices here. So without further ado, let's get started and I will go over each character choices briefly to introduce them and their value in your account. If you want to know more about the characters in detail, I will link the character guides playlist on my channel below in the description and you can find all characters guides there. Anyway, first character I want to go over is Springfield. If you are a new player, C is highly recommended and pretty much a must-have in your account. C is a Hydro support doll, and although I don't personally follow tier lists, C is the universal tier 0 support unit in the game right now. While C is obviously a core unit for the Hydro team, C can be fit in any team alongside any characters as C is just the best healer and support in the game, period. Key features for her include that C can pretty much double the entire team's HP, which is huge for sustainability. C provides constant buffs and heals to your allies. This becomes especially more useful with Hydro teammates. At higher dupes, primarily V3+, C starts dealing significant damage as well with her summoned bard Darius. And lastly, C is extremely important to pair with Tololo. Tololo is one of the two top tier completely free DPS dolls that F2Ps have easy access to and a must build. And that makes Springfield's value, especially for new and F2P players, extremely high. So if you currently don't have Springfield yet, and especially if you are a newer player, C is hands down the #1 recommendation among these 6 characters. If you already got her but only at V0, you should also 100% look at getting her first dupe for V1 as that's when she starts synergizing with Tololo to start building your Hydro core. But before we look at the priorities of picking up dupes, let me first cover all the other doll choices we have. The next one I want to mention is Vector. She is a Burn type support character and a core unit of the Burn team. Since Burn team is the most accessible endgame meta team for F2P players, especially with QJ and Starry being two completely free endgame viable units that you can easily pair her with, Vector is easily one of the highest valued unit in the game for new, F2P and all types of players. Key features for Vector include that she enhances and increases the number of support attacks for Burn allies, which is the core mechanic of this team. She is a Burn tile generator and provides lots of burn buffs to her teammates. She has significant source of her own damage output, and she has some very valuable early dupe breakpoints to further push her value higher. So if you want to build a Burn team, Vector is a must-have unit, be it your new F2P or a spending player. There's no Burn team without Vector, and just like Springfield, if you already have Vector but only at V0, it is highly recommended to pull her first dupe at V1 to maximize her value in the Burn team. I have been mentioning this from a long time since I started playing this game that Springfield V1 and Vector V1 are the two most cost efficient investments for F2P players to build two most easily accessible elemental core teams for endgame viability, and I still stand by that. But there's been some new changes in the Burn meta recently, and it's worth considering that looking at the future from the CN data we have. Burn team till now has had the core mechanic of support attacks. But with Luis already released and Sakura and Lorelei coming in the future, a new Burn meta is evolving around the thermal conduction mechanic of stacking searing flames to gain Ember buff stacks. Now this is a different mechanic for these new generation Burn units that don't depend on support attacks anymore, and hence their synergy with Vector V0 and V1 is diminished. But as we can see from CN data, Vector is still present in all new Burn teams. Here's why. She is strictly used at V2+ with her expansion key. We haven't received her expansion key yet, but keep in mind that it will come soon, and this will reduce her ult cooldown as well as give her team-wide healing capability. So now she can replace Centaurus in the Burn team. Or can she? Not exactly. At low dupes, even with her expansion key, she doesn't exactly replace Centaurus 100%. That's when you also need her V2. which adds ally debuff cleansing to her ult as well. At this point, she can comfortably start replacing Centaur UC by herself as the solo burn support of the team, and adding Lorelei in the future will only make things better. And her default burn tile generation capability, fixed damage sources, team-wide non-overlapping attack buffs, etc. still remains valuable to the new generation burn team meta, and so Vector still remains relevant in CN. So keep this in mind for considering her current as well as future value. At 2 dupes plus her neural expansion key is her peak performance breakpoint for future consideration, while a V1 Vector is still sufficient in the current meta. Next up, I want to quickly go over Misty. She is a corrosion support doll, and after her expansion key got added to global, she is a very valuable and core unit for the corrosion team. Her key features include that she can consistently generate corrosion tiles and put corrosion weakness to enemies. She puts a lot of corrosion debuffs on enemies to work well with Klukai and Lind. This becomes very important. She converts your Peritia support attacks from physical to corrosion attacks, another necessary thing. With her expansion key now, she has unlimited range AoE attack every turn while sitting at one spot. This is really helpful for clearing all mob stages like expansion reel, extreme peak, etc. as well as in PvP mode. And lastly, you do not need anything more than V0 of her. Just a single copy is enough, no dupes necessary. So with that in mind, if you do not currently have her and have Klukai or Lind or are interested in building corrosion teams, she is very much an essential pull. You just get her one free copy now and don't need to pull her on reruns anymore. Okay, let me talk about Yuhi next. She is the core physical support unit of the game. Since a full physical team has been missing from global till now, she didn't have high value yet, but we know that Voimastina is coming. So if you do want to prepare for her or for a physical team in general, then Yuhi is a must-have in there. Key features that make her useful include that she provides defense ignore, crit damage buffs, healing and debuff cleansing to allies. Her defense ignore combined with different defense down effects can essentially reduce enemy defenses to 0, and that is really useful for physical units as that's their core mechanic. And her excess defense ignore also doesn't get wasted as that converts to more attack damage buff. So although she doesn't have a lot of value right now, she will become stronger in future with more physical units coming like Voimastina, Lenny, Cheyan, etc. If you haven't pulled Yuhi yet like me and want to prepare for physical, she is a good choice to go for here at V0. But the other thing you need to know about her is that she actually becomes way more powerful and versatile at higher dupes, especially at V2 plus and V3. At V2 plus she becomes way more versatile beyond just physical teams, and actually you can see her being used with the electric team a lot here. She becomes the best at V3, so if you already have pulled Yuhi and have her at V0, V1 or V2, you can definitely consider to get a free copy from here and get her to the next higher dupe breakpoint as this will help you a lot. If you are just considering to get her for the first time now at V0, know that she will be really good to pair with Voimastina and with other physical units, but she will primarily be more useful in strictly physical teams rather than being a highly versatile unit, so plan accordingly if you want to go for her dupes in her future reruns. Let's cover Andoris next. She is the electric tank support unit. When she was released in global alongside the newly reworked Jiangyu, many might have considered her to be not necessary in the electric team. But I still believe she is way more valuable than Jiangyu in the electric team, and of course the best is to have them both. Since I think we had Andoris reruns recently, as well as a lot of electric banners, and we have completed the basic electric team comp, this is more intended towards those who pulled other electric dolls but might have missed or skipped pulling her. Key features that make her an electric core include that she is the electric team's sustainability unit if you are not using Yuhi, and her damage sharing mechanic makes it easy to sustain the whole team. She can summon multiple turrets on field that count towards ally entities for various boss mechanics. She has incredible synergy with Leva that doesn't hurt anyone's damage potential as her turrets apply negative charge on enemies, which triggers Leva's support attack mechanics. And she doesn't need any more than just a single copy at V0 to be useful. So just like I said, if you have missed her previously but pulled other electric units and want to play the electric team, get her free copy now and you should be set. No more dupes needed. Lastly, let me go over Macchiato. She is a freeze DPS character, the only DPS unit of this pool, as we mostly saw support type units from other elements as they tend to be more valuable in general. But Macchiato, despite being a DPS, is a core unit on the freeze comp because of her incredible synergy with Robella as her partner. Key features for her include that she specializes in the interception mechanic and multi-hit single target attacks, which benefit towards Robella's unlimited damage stacking. The thing is though, that you kinda absolutely want her to be at least V1 and highly recommended to get her V2. So if you are a very new player and don't have her, I wouldn't say she is a high priority to get from this event, especially since we'll be getting more freeze DPS units like Alva soon, who can also become Robela's partner. But if you already got her, this would be a nice opportunity to get her to a higher dupe like V1 or V2 to boost her value a lot. You do not need more than her V2. So now that we have covered all the character options we have from the pool, I will try to share my recommendation or priority order of whom to pick up. Remember, no one's actually a must-have. When I say someone's a must-have, I only talk about the current meta and that they will make your life easier fighting in the current meta endgame fights. You can absolutely use all dolls when invested well in all game modes to achieve success. So feel free to pick up someone who you don't have in your account just to fill up your dorm collection. In fact, the more dolls you have, you can upgrade your dispatch room to higher levels for more account-wide buffs. When picking up a free unit, you can either try to invest vertically by getting dupes to improve your current units, or invest horizontally by getting new units. I don't have a say in this, both are valid options and it depends on your preference. Especially because the choices in this pool are all great either now or for the future. The recommendation and priority order I will mention are just my thoughts and ideas, feel free to share yours down below in the comments. The first scenario is that you have none of these units. I am assuming you are a newer player in that case, and the priority order for that in my opinion will be Springfield first. She will help you reliably progress through all game modes and boss fights without fear of your units dying at any point. You will be set to get her V1 later on to pair with Tololo to build towards a powerful endgame team. So yes, she is definitely the number one pick in this case. The second one I would say is Yuhi. This is especially considering that we know Voimastina will be coming soon and it's in preparation for that. If you are a newer player, you should definitely save towards pulling Voimastina as she will trivialize a lot of game modes by just existing in your account. And Yuhi will be her perfect duo. You can plan for other future physical units as well and you will have a top tier meta team in very near future. Mistu and Vector are next in my priority list here. Mistu V0 is all you need, and just like Voimastina for physical, you got Klukai for Corrosion as another wheelchair unit. So you can easily pair them to build your Corrosion endgame combo. Vector at V0 will not be revolutionary, but is needed to build your Burn team and should be the stepping stone towards our next dupes. Since Burn is one of the most easily accessible archetype for newer and F2P players, getting Vector even at V0 for now would be a smart choice, but you should be looking to dupe her as soon as possible. Andoris and Macchiato in my opinion are not the highest priority for this scenario. While Andoris V0 is enough, if you are a new player and don't have other electric units, she wouldn't add a lot of value to your account. As mentioned before, she is specifically for those who missed her. So if you are one of them, then go get her. But we don't have any upcoming electric units soon, so I think you have time to build your electric team if you are going to start from scratch. Macchiato on the other hand is more useful from at least V1, and so I don't think is the smart choice to get, especially compared to the other options. Scenario 2 would be when you are looking at picking up dupes. If you are going from V0 to V1, definite first choices are Springfield and Vector and closely followed by Macchiato. Both Springfield and Vector V1s are, as mentioned before, the most cost efficient investments that will improve your whole account as F2Ps and will give you access to two strong meta archetypes. Macchiato V1 is more of a her personal need based pick, otherwise she doesn't perform at her best. But do remember that a freeze team is way more cost heavy than burn or hydro teams, as there's no good free freeze units right now. And I would mention Yuhi is next in order, as I wouldn't personally recommend going for V1 Yuhi specifically unless you do want to go for a V2 and V3 in future. In that case, picking up her first copy here is not a bad idea at all. And lastly, you do not need Andoris or Mistu dupes, I won't mention them anymore. Now if you are going from V1 to V2, my top priorities would be Yuhi and Vector. V2 Yuhi is essential to make her versatile and push your physical team potential even higher. V2 Vector is in preparation for future when her expansion key releases and you plan to replace Centaurus or start building the new generation of Burn team. If you do not intend to get any of the new Burn units, you can keep Vector at V1 for now and keep playing with the traditional Burn team and get her V2 in future if you feel so. This is followed by Springfield V2, as you will have a better rotation with your Tololo, and this is a stepping stone towards her V3 when you start dealing good damage with her as well. And lastly, Macchiato V2 is not really a must, but if you are definitely building freeze, then you should think about getting it for sure. These are my primary recommendations and pick priority. Beyond this, I think only Springfield and Yuhi are worth going for V3. If you are trying to go for any max dupes, that should be Springfield as well. Anything else, you are already a whale and you can just go for anyone here at that point. Okay, let's talk about the weapon pickup recommendations now. First thing, I'm not gonna talk about any dupes of weapons. This is strictly for picking up the first copy of the weapon, as signature weapons are all good at only one copy and you do not need any dupes. My first choices are definitely Springfield and Vector weapons, but with a caveat. You definitely want to have them at V1 first before picking up their weapons. So the priority is to get them to V1 and then their signature weapons. If you plan to pick their weapons when they are still at V0, you must be planning to get their V1 soon. Otherwise, I wouldn't recommend to get these right now. I think the Macchiato Sniper is a far better universally good choice to pick for anyone. This sniper is awesome and can be used with many other dolls like Nikita for example, who prefers this over her own signature. This one is almost always a better choice over any standard free snipers for any sniper type dolls. So you can't go wrong with this one and is my top universal pick. And then it's Yuhi signature. If you are building towards your physical team in preparation for the upcoming characters, get this one for her for even more defense ignore. I would not say this is a must have on her, you should still prioritize getting Yuhi dupes, but since this is a free pickup, you can definitely pick this up now since generally going for the weapon banners are not highly recommended. You can always get Yuhi dupes from her rerun banners. And lastly, I don't think any of Andoris or Misty weapons are necessary, but definitely good upgrades. If you already got the other weapons here, you can go for any of these then. And that covers this free Ssr pickup event. Let me know below which character and weapon are you going for. For me personally, it's a tough decision. I am debating between either getting my Vector from V1 to V2 or getting Yuhi V0. And will probably pick up Macchiato Sniper from the weapon box. In any case, if you found this video helpful, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.